Welcome to the Ghost the Jellyfish Ghost tutorial, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this really cute jellyfish ghost pattern that I came up with. The materials that you are going to need are yarn, and I have 3 colors chosen, a stitch marker, some safety eyes, or you have the option to embroider them. You'll need a darning needle, a 5mm hook, or whichever hook is recommended for the yarn that you'll be using, and some scissors. We're going to be starting with the hat in the body first, and I also wanted to mention that if you prefer a PDF version, you will be able to find a link down below to my shop where I have the PDF version listed and available for purchase. Other than that, let's just jump right in. Starting with the hat color, which for me is going to be black, I'm going to do 4 single crochets in a magic ring, and I personally like to do the chain 2 method. I notice if I do 1 chain and slowly make it a little bit smaller and then make the second chain very tight, I don't get a weird loop or gap in the middle. And then go ahead and do 4 single crochets into there. Just for preference, I like to make a stitch marker on the first stitch right away so I don't lose it. It can be a little bit tricky to get into that first stitch. Okay, now that I've done 4 single crochet into a magic ring, I'm going to do 4 single crochet. This is worked in continuous rounds, so you don't need to do a slip stitch or chain 1. You just work directly into the first stitch of the previous row, and then move your stitch marker. Okay, and the third row is going to be an increase single crochet times 2 for a total of 6 stitches at the end. And to do the increase, you just do 2 single crochet into the same stitch. 1 and 2. Put the stitch marker on that first stitch. Then you want to go ahead and make sure that you flip your work so that way it is on the inside, the ends are, that is. And then you can continue working on. So for the 4th round, you're just going to do 6 single crochets. And for round 5, you're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase times 2 for a total of 8 stitches. And for the next round, you're now going to do 8 single crochet. Okay, and for round 7, you're going to do a single crochet, an increase, and you're going to do that times 4 for a total of 12 stitches. Single crochet, increase, and then you're going to repeat that 3 more times. And now for round 8, we're going to do 12 single crochet. When you get to the last stitch, don't pull through the final 2 loops. Instead, we're going to change to the next color. I'm going to be using orange. Don't cut the black yarn though, because we will be using it again. So for round 9, we're going to do 12 increases. So an increase in each stitch. 1 and 2. When you get to the last stitch, don't pull through the final 2 loops. Instead, change back to the black color and then pull through. And you are now able to cut the orange yarn. I like to just tie these ends together with a nice double knot just to help prevent it from ever coming out. And I can just tuck the ends into the hat. Okay, and for round 10, we're going to do 24 single crochet. For round 11, we're going to do a front loop only. So you're going to be going into this front loop here, and if you look at the stitch, it should look like a V. This is through both of the stitches here, and we're just going to be going through that front loop. So you'll insert your hook like so. And we're going to be doing 3 single crochets, an increase, and we're going to do that times 6 for a total of 30 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and increase. And then repeat that 5 more times. For round 12, we're going to be doing a single crochet, increase, and then 3 single crochet, and we're going to do that times 6. This time working into both loops again. There's 1 single crochet, increase, 1, 2, 3, and then repeat that 5 more times. Now we are going to work the last round of the hat, and you are going to do 36 single crochet. Okay, I've made it to my last stitch, and I'm going to finish off, and I don't need to leave a very long tail at all. This is just enough for me to be able to weave it in at the end here. And that is all for the hat. Now we can move on to the body, which will be starting with round 14. And we're going to be working into the back loop only of that round 10 that we did. So we had worked the front loop only originally in the black, and now we're going to be going back and working in that back loop only, which you can see there's slight ridges around, and we're just going to be going into those little ridges, which is the back loops. We're going to do 24 single crochet, so just 1 single crochet in each stitch. And I like to just chain 1 just to secure it for that first stitch there. And then you're going to repeat that for round 15. So 2 total rounds of single crochet. For round 16, we're going to do 3 single crochet and an increase times 6 for a total of 30 stitches. Two, 3, and an increase. And then I'm going to repeat that 5 more times. For rounds 17 through 21, you're just going to do 30 single crochet, so single crochet in each stitch, and you're going to do that for 5 rounds. Your jellyfish ghost is probably starting to look something like this. So now that we've done those 5 rounds of single crochet, for round 22, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease, and we're going to do that 6 times. So 1, 2, 3. And for the decrease, I like to do an invisible decrease. So I go into the front loop of the first stitch, into the front loop of the second stitch, pull through both of those loops, and do a single crochet. And that's how I do my invisible decrease. And I'm going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, and then another invisible decrease going into the first loop, and then the second loop, pull through both, and then pull through both. And then go ahead and do that 4 more times. For round 23, we are going to do 2 single crochet and a decrease times 6 again. So 1, 2, that invisible decrease, and then repeat that 5 more times. And for the final round of the body, we're going to do round 24, and it's all going to be in the front loop only. So we are going to do a half double crochet in the front loop only. We're going to do a half double crochet, a double crochet in the same stitch, and 1 more half double crochet in that same stitch. So 3 stitches in total in that first stitch. Then we're going to slip stitch like so, and then repeat that 9 times for a total of 36 stitches. I'll show you again. Half double crochet, double crochet, and half double crochet all in the same stitch, and slip stitch. Okay, go ahead and repeat that 7 more times, and then I will meet back up with you at the end. I finished my final round, and I don't need to leave a long tail to weave or sew. I just need to leave a long enough tail to be able to tuck back into the body. And that is the completed body. Let's move on to adding some face details. I am going to be using 10mm safety eyes, and I'm going to be placing it between rounds 18 and 19. And just for reference, round 14 is the very first round of white, so you can just count down from there. So we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18, and then 19 would be this one right here. So right in between there and about 3 stitches apart or so, just like that. I have had people say that they like their eyes placed a little bit higher, so feel free to put them up higher if you like, really wherever you find sits best on your jellyfish. I like to keep mine between rounds 18 and 19 though. Go ahead and put the backs on it. It's looking so cute. So now I'm going to go ahead and embroider a smile, which you don't need very much yarn at all. Place it on my darning needle. So the first thing you're going to do is insert your needle 1 row below the left eye. So like right around there. Then leave a little bit of a tail behind. And then you're going to put it directly across the right eye, 1 row below as well. And then you're going to come up in the middle of those 2 one row below. Secure that yarn by going back through the same spot. And then you can obviously readjust the tension till you get a smile that you think you like the most. Sometimes you can even go back on the other side just to even it out a little bit. And then I like to turn it over and tie 2 knots to secure. Perfect. You can go ahead and snip that, or you can just tuck it in, whichever you prefer. Now our cute little ghost jellyfish's face is all done, and we're ready to work on to the bottom. Continuing in the same body color, you're going to do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. And I like to use the chain 2 method again. And then for round 2, you're going to do 6 increases. So an increase in every stitch for a total of 12 stitches. 1, 2. And then for the final row, you're going to do a single crochet, increase times 6 for a total of 18 stitches. So 1 single crochet, increase, and then do that 5 more times. Now you're going to actually leave a long tail for sewing, approximately 12 inches. And that is all for the body. Now for the best part about this pattern is you can make whichever color you want in the tentacles, and it gives it its own personality. I think for this guy, I'm going to end up making him some black and white tentacles, and then I will make the small accent straight tentacles in this orange color. To make the tentacles, you're going to start with a slip stitch. And you're going to chain 21 for the curly tentacles. 1, 2, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And now starting in the second loop from the hook, so not this one here, but the next one, that's going to be right here. We are going to do 3 half double crochets in each stitch, so a final total of 60 stitches. In a half double crochet, you're just going to yarn over, insert your hook into that chain, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 3 loops. Once again, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops. And you're going to do that all in the same stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, pull through all 3, and then 3 in the next one. And you'll start to notice that it's going to curl up on itself, and that is exactly what you want it to do. That's how we get that really unique curly formation of the tentacles. Once you've gotten to the end, it's going to look something like this, and you really only need to leave about that much of a tail because you're not going to have to worry about sewing it at all. So you're going to go ahead and make 3 of these in one color and then 3 in the body color or whatever color you would want, but you'll need 6 curly tentacles altogether. To make the straight tentacles, I am going to be starting with a slip stitch and then chaining 17. (14, 15, 16, and 17. And then starting in the second loop from the hook again, I'm just going to be slip stitching in every chain. Just like so. Okay, and once you get to the end, it should look something like this. And again, you do not need to leave a very long tail at all. And then you're going to go ahead and make 3 more of the straight tentacles. Now to assemble the body, we are going to work on putting the tentacles onto the bottom. So I have all the tentacles here that I made up. I did 3 in black, 3 in white, and 3 in this orange. So I'm going to take my bottom, and this is the right side because the wrong side will have the tail end facing here, and we want this side to go into the body of our jellyfish. So I'm going to take my tentacles, and I'm actually going to start with the white. And you can use a crochet hook or a darning needle. Sometimes I go back and forth. And I'm going to put these really anywhere, just close to the edge. I'm just going to take one side through, and then it's really easy with the crochet hook because you just pop the head through and then pull the other side through like that. And then now I'm going to place the other 2 at kind of an angle, so that way it's like divided into thirds. And I kind of just play around till I get the spacing that I like. I want them evenly distributed. I think that's pretty evenly spaced for my liking. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab the black, and I'm going to put those in between as well. So now that I like how those are spaced, I'm going to go ahead and add the last 3 tentacles. I'm also going to just make sure that these are not going to come out while I'm adding tentacles. So I'm just giving a nice little tug. So these guys are going to go more in the middle here, towards the center, just slightly, not too much. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and just pull all of the ends up, prevent them from falling through again. And I'm just going to go around and double knot them all together, so that way they have no chance of escaping. And I like to just work my way around in a circle so I know I don't miss any of them. Now that I have tied all the ends onto the bottom, we're ready to sew it onto the head. The only thing we have to do is stuff it first. I'm just going to be stuffing. I like to stuff the hat first and then stuff the body. So now I'm going to take my darning needle and thread this tail that we had left on the body onto it. And I'm going to find the edge here, just because that's where I tend to like to line it up. And we're first going to go into the front loop of the bottom. So you see how each stitch has that V, they've got a front loop and a back loop. We're just going to go into the front loop, like so. And then we're going to pull that through. And then we're going to come up here and you're going to find that first back loop only of that last row that we did. Or I guess technically it would be the last back loop only. So here is where it finishes. This is the slip stitch I did. So this is the stitch I'm going to go into. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be this one here. And I'm just going to go into it like so. And that's my first stitch sewn. So now I'm going to move into the next stitch here. Go into the front loop only, and then the back loop only of that last round we did. And I'm just going to keep repeating that all the way around. And just have a little bit of patience. It's not too difficult because we specifically went into the back loops only, but sometimes it can be a little bit hard to see depending on the yarn that you're using. Once you have completed sewing all the way around, I like to just take this yarn and come up through the back here. And then if you haven't already weaved this end in from the last row of the body, I also tend to just stick that through the bottom and up through the same spot. And then I'll just tie a double knot here to secure it, just for a little extra safety. Let me do that. And then I'll just snip these here and then just tuck that in. Nice and easy. And then I think the only other one I have to weave in is this, and I'll just go around this bottom one here just to help it have a little bit nicer of a seam. And you kind of just wiggle your way through and then find a spot and just poke it up through the top. And then I shouldn't even have to cut that. I should be able to just tuck it into the hat. And voila, you are done with your ghost jellyfish. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. I love making all sorts of fun crochet videos, and I will have 2 other patterns coming out as well. They belong in the same 3-in-1 jellyfish bundle. It is going to be the zombie jellyfish and the jack-o'-lantern jellyfish. Again, if you want to have the patterns right away, you can go ahead and click the link in my description and you can get the downloadable PDF pattern from my store, and you will be able to have all 3 of those patterns right away for you to access. Otherwise, the other 2 patterns should be coming out here shortly. Happy crocheting, and I hope you have a great day.